Today, we are finally going to dive into the Sutta section of chapter 2, the bringer of light. The first Sutta, one person. Monks, there is one person who arises in the world for the welfare of multitude, for the happiness of the multitude, out of compassion for the world, for the good welfare and happiness of devas and humans. Who is that one person? It is the Tathagata, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one. This is that one person. Okay. Sister Saiken, would you like to continue?
Monks, there's one person arising in the world who is unique, without a peer, without counterpart, incomparable, unequaled, matchless, unrivaled, the best of humans. Who is that one person? It is the Tathagata, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one. This is that one person.
Thanks, Sister Saiken. Brother Waken, would you like to read next?
Yes, thank you. I want to read this. I love this passage. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Marcel. All right. Monks, the manifestation of one person is the manifestation of great vision, of great light, of great radiance. It is the manifestation of the six things unsurpassed, the realization of the four analytical knowledges, the penetration of the various elements of the diversity of elements. It is the realization of the fruit of knowledge and liberation, the realization of the fruits of stream entry, once returning, non-returning, and arahantship. Who is that one person? It is the Tathagata, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one. This is that one person.
Okay, thanks, Brother Waken. I like your enthusiasm. This is taken from Anguttara Nikaya 1, Book of 1. Let's take a look at footnotes number 3. Brother Waken, would you like to read this as well?
The six things unsurpassed, Cha Anuttariya, are explained at Anguttara Nikaya 6.130. The unsurpassed sight, that is the sight of a Buddha or his disciple. The unsurpassed hearing, that is the hearing the Dhamma from a Buddha or his disciple. The unsurpassed gain, that is the gain of faith in a Buddha or his disciple. The unsurpassed training, that is training in the higher morality, higher mind, higher wisdom, as taught by a Buddha or his disciple. The unsurpassed service, that is service to a Buddha or his disciple. And the unsurpassed recollection, that is the recollection of a Buddha or his disciple. The four analytical knowledges, Chatasso Pati Sambhida, are the analytical knowledges of meaning, doctrine, language, and ingenuity. The fruits of stream entry, etc., are explained in chapter 10.
Okay, thanks, Brother Waken. The six things unsurpassed here very quickly is the unsurpassed sight, hearing, gain of faith in the Buddha, the unsurpassed training, unsurpassed service, unsurpassed recollection. The four analytical knowledge are the analytical knowledge of meaning, doctrine, language, and ingenuity. The last one, the fruits of stream entry. If you recall, I have shown the table before that was taken from chapter 10. Okay, that's it for the first sutta. Any comments or questions? So, Brother Waken, why do you like this one so much?
Well, because Wesak is coming. Yeah, Wesak month is coming. I remember last year, I remember last year, during Wesak month, in our sutta study, in our youth fellowship sutta study, this is one of the suttas, one of the passages that we also looked at, we also discussed. All right, the word here, the phrase here that I really like is eka puggala, one person. Eka puggala. Eka means one, puggala, person. The one person. So the Buddha is saying there is one person arising in the world. There is one person arising in the world for the welfare, for the well-being, for the joy of many. There is one person who is the manifestation of great vision. Right. So this is that one person, Eka puggala. The way I think about it, and the way I also discuss this and bring this up with our youth participants, our youth fellowship, we talk about why it's so important to recognize the one person. In particular, I talk to them, right? I discuss with them. I say, like, why are you a Buddhist? Or like, why do you come to the Buddhist center? Or why do you come to sutta study? Why do you come to a meditation session and so on? Like, who is that one person for you? For many of us, we might be thinking of, I don't know, right? Maybe for many of us in the tradition, we might be thinking, okay, it's because of my parents, or because of my friends, or whoever they are. There might be many people in our lives which are important. Okay, I'm not trying to downplay, right, the importance of their role. Like, we have a lot of good friends, a lot of good elders, right, who bring us into the tradition, who bring us into the practice and teaching. So this is all important. But behind all of that, we ought to remember that there is that one person who arises for the well-being of many, and that one person, Eka Puggala, is the Tathagata, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one. So that's why I love to get people to think about this. Who is that one person for you, right? I like to get people to think about this passage. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks, Brother Waken. There's one person who is so enthusiastic in reading today. Who is that one person? Brother Waken. Okay, let's continue reading the second sutta. Okay, let's take a look. Sister Kim, would you like to read?
To the Buddha's conception and birth. 1. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Sarwati in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. 2. Now, a number of monks were sitting in the assembly hall, where they had met together on returning from their alms round. After their meals, when their discussion arose among them, "It is wonderful, friends. It is marvelous. How mighty and powerful is the Tathagata, for he is able to know about the Buddhas of the past who attained final nibbana, cut the tangle of proliferation, broke the cycle, ended the round, and surmounted all suffering. That for those blessed ones, their birth was thus, their names were thus, their clans were thus, their moral discipline were thus, their qualities of concentration were thus, their wisdom was thus, their meditative dwellings were thus, their liberation was thus."
Okay, thanks, Sister Kim. In this sutta, there were discussions with a group of monks. Then they talk about how wonderful it is. The Buddha is, how mighty and powerful is the Tathagata. He is able to know about the Buddhas of the past, attain final nibbana, cut the tangle of proliferation, broke the cycle, ended the round, surmounted all suffering. Let's take a look at proliferation. First definition, rapid increase in numbers. Second definition, rapid reproduction of a cell, part of organism. Third one, large number of something. So you can cut the proliferation, the tanglement of cycle of birth and death, and mention the quality of the Buddha. For the Blessed One, the birth was thus, their names was thus, clans was thus, moral discipline was thus, concentration was thus, wisdom, meditative dwellings, and liberation was thus. Next one, Sister Choi Kwan, would you like to read?
When this was said, the Venerable Ananda told the monks, "Friends, Tathagatas are wonderful and have wonderful qualities. Tathagatas are marvelous and have marvelous qualities." However, their discussion was interrupted, for the Blessed One rose from meditation when it was evening, went to the assembly hall, and sat down on a seat made ready. Then he addressed the monk thus: "Monks, for what discussion are you sitting together here now? And what was your discussion that was interrupted?"
Okay, thanks, Sister Choi Kwan. Let's take a look at footnotes number 4. As the Buddha's personal attendant, Ananda was known for his personal dedication to his master. In the main portion of the sutta, where he articulates the traditional beliefs about the wonders accompanying the Buddha's conception and birth, he seems to represent the voice of faithful devotion. This footnote is talking about Venerable Ananda. So when they are discussing on the table in the assembly hall, the Tathagata rose from meditation when it was evening, sat down on a seat made ready, then he addressed the monks. Monks, for what discussion are you sitting together here now? Huh? What are you guys discussing? And what was your discussion that was interrupted? Sometimes it's curious to me. It feels like I think the Buddha is able to encompass the other mind, read the other people's mind, but still the Buddha asked them, what were you guys talking about? Maybe just for formality or something. Let's continue. Sister Billy, would you like to read?
Dear Venerable Sir, we were sitting in the assembly hall where we had met together on returning home from our alms round after our meal, when this discussion arose among us. It is wonderful, friends. It is marvelous. Their liberation was thus. When this was said, Venerable Sir, the Venerable Ananda said to us, "Friends, Tathagatas are wonderful and have wonderful qualities. Tathagatas are marvelous and have marvelous qualities." This was our discussion, Venerable Sir, and that was interrupted when the Blessed One arrived.
Okay, thanks, Sister Billy.
Thank you.
Let's see. Okay, this sutta is actually pretty long, so we will not be able to finish by today.
Yes, it's very long.
Yeah. Okay, we will continue next time. We have established the context, how this discussion arose among the monks, and next time we will continue exploring the quality, the marvelous quality of the Buddha, of the Blessed One. Any questions or comments for what we have read so far?
I wanted to talk a little bit about the proliferation part. So
Okay.
if you could bring up that passage.
Okay. Share screen. This one, proliferation. Yep.
Oh yeah, this part. So yeah, this was I was googling it. I was googling this passage. So the Pali for this is Chinna Papanche. So proliferation is usually in some, well, I guess most translators these days, they would use the word proliferation to translate the word papancha, right? So if you guys want to know more about this word papancha, you guys can Google it. In fact, let me type it in the chat. Give me one moment. Yeah. So it's papancha. Yes, this is the word. So usually these days, a lot of translators translate that as proliferation. However, you might see other translations. For example, I think Tanisaru Bhikkhu translates it as objectification, I believe. And there are other translations as well, which are quite interesting, to be honest. I can't quite remember all of them right now, but all the different translations I actually appreciate because they kind of shine different angles on this word papancha. And papancha is a very rich word, and many scholars and Buddhist teachers and Buddhist practitioners have discussed this word. So if you do some Googling, you can read up some of the articles and some of the discussions. Anyway, so so Marcel, just now we mentioned that we have looked at the context, right? So the context is how the monks are discussing the marvelous qualities, the amazing qualities of the Tathagata, right? It is wonderful, friends. It is marvelous how mighty and powerful is the Tathagata. Right? This is great, right? How often do you sit down with your friends and say, wow, how mighty and powerful is the Buddha? Do you do that? What are the qualities of the Buddha that make him marvelous and wonderful? This is great, right? The monks sit down and discuss that. Sometimes it's good for us to sit down and reflect. What makes the Buddha so amazing? Right? I think this is a very worthy discussion. The word for wonderful and marvelous here is acharya abutta. Right? So you can think about that. Again, you can go and read the suttas. Right? Acharya abutta. Marvelous and wonderful. Right? What makes the Buddha so amazing? All right, back to the previous passage. Yeah. Then for those blessed ones, for those Tathagatas, their birth is like this, their names were like this, their clans were like this. Right? So in the tradition, both I think Theravada and Mahayana tradition, and you have other traditions as well. You find like the names of some of the past Buddhas, if you know that. Right, the names of the past Buddhas, their clans, maybe their parents' names as well, and so on. Right, so this was their moral discipline, this was their sila, this was their samadhi, their qualities of concentration, this was their panya, their wisdom. Their meditative dwellings were this, their liberation was this. So we look at the Buddhas and we don't just talk about maybe their background, not just their birth or their names, but we also look at, okay, this was their sila, samadhi, panya, because these are things that we learn from. Okay, so finally, let me talk about just the proliferation part. So just now, Marcel has helped us look at the definition of proliferation. It has the idea of expansion, right? Spreading out, building up, and expanding, and adding, and increasing. So that's the idea of proliferation, where there is the proliferation of thoughts and self-identification, our views, our craving of self, and they keep expanding and increasing, right? Think back to your own experience, how your ideas and your conceptions of yourself, your view and your views and your thoughts, you keep adding on to those thoughts, and that just blows up, so to speak. That just grows and grows and increases, right? So there is that tendency of the mind to create these stories about ourselves, or to create these views and these perceptions of ourselves and of other people as well. So we just keep thinking, oh, I am like this, or other people are like that, right? And so this proliferation is a very strong tendency of the mind. And I love to study this word, right? I love to talk to my friends about this word as well. There is actually, I think there is a article online somewhere. If I recall correctly, is by Ajahn Amaro, and it's titled something like "Puncture Your Papancha." Puncture your papancha. It's a great article. Like if you want to Google that, you might like. It's a really great article. Ajahn Amaro just goes through the idea of papancha and how to puncture it, right? How to like poke holes in it, how to just either eradicate it or like reduce it, minimize it. So it's a really like great. The word papancha is a really great subject for discussion. Finally, I want to say the last thing I want to say is like cutting the tangle of proliferation. When I look at the word tangle, I think about a few things, right? I think of one sutta where someone approaches the Buddha and asks like, wow, everyone is tangled up. All the beings and the world are tangled up, they're entangled. How do we cut this tangle? How do we untangle this tangle, right? In fact, this sutta passage is also the basis for one of the commentarial like manuals in Theravada Buddhism. It's called the Visuddhimagga. Some of you might know it, right? So that Visuddhimagga is actually a commentary on this passage of untangling the tangle. So when I read this phrase, cutting the tangle of proliferation, it brings to my mind this image of our proliferation becoming more and more until it tangles up. Do you guys have that experience where maybe your earphones or whether you have I don't know, where you have some strings, or sometimes when I bring my phone charger and my laptop charger and then they just get tangled up in my car or something like that, and I have to like spend the time to like untangle it. I have to like, yeah, you know, distinguish and extract the different chargers and the different lines and strings. So that experience of everything tangling up and becoming a mess is sometimes our experience when we look at our minds, right? It's such a mess. It's all over the place, so to speak. And the Buddhas, the Arahants, they have managed to do this, to untangle the tangle, to cut the tangle of proliferation. And in the Visuddhimagga, the tool that they use to cut the tangle is panya, the knife of panya, the knife of wisdom. And so, yeah, so these are some of the images and concepts that come to my mind. And so I'd like to share this with you guys. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Brother Wicken, for expanding for us the concept of proliferation. Let's take a look at the resources that Brother Wicken was talking about. Firstly, this one. Share screen. Puncture Your Papancha by Ajahn Amaro. Let me zoom in. Is it this one, Brother Wicken? Okay. So you can take a look at this. I will send the link in the chat. Yeah, if you want. Wow, this is actually a pretty long elaboration of Papancha. Conceptual proliferation. If you like a short one, actually in our previous book, The Noble Evil Path, is also explained briefly here at the 4th paragraph of Right Mindfulness. Bhikkhu Bodhi thus explains the concept of Papancha in 1 or 2 paragraphs. Thanks a lot for sharing again and elaborating for us, Brother Wicken. It is so marvelous of you. Any more questions or comments? If not, let's do dedication. 厌消三障除烦恼，厌得智慧真明了。普愿罪障悉消除，时时常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。So we meet again. May we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a marvelous Saturday ahead.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. See you
Bye-bye.
guys next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.